We back in Thailand on the way to Bangkok. Entered the border yesterday. Okay, so in time for the last chapter to start the last chapter of John. I actually kind of wasn't. I thought I would just do the last chapter in Bangkok because there's a lot of driving, not a lot of stopping. But here's a nice view with here at this coffee shop. I need strong coffee this morning, and so to keep awake on the road. And then there's this nice view. So I decide, well, no, this is a good place to start recording as well. So let's start and do the introduction then to John chapter 21. What is this chapter about? In a certain sense, this chapter feels like an addendum, as if this is not part of the original, because the previous chapter ended up, this is the reason why this book was written. And then all of a sudden you get this chapter. And it does not feel necessary in one sense. Okay, it's a little bit like Mark chapter 16 from verse 9 to the end of the chapter, which, well, we know it's not part of the original and was most likely an added addendum added to the book later on. But now in this case with this chapter, at least we don't see this as not part of the earlier manuscripts. Okay, and I just want to say there that does not imply that it was part of the first manuscript, right? But anyhow, I think we'll get back to that. But still, this chapter is fitting for a very simple reason. Two things are made clear in this chapter. The restoration of Peter, and then in as well as a certain sense, the future of the writer of this book. Okay, well, sure, there's a future of Peter as well here in play, but I think more importantly is actually the future of the writer. Okay, so they're back in Galilee. Were they doing the wrong thing to be back in Galilee? I mean, Jesus, in other Gospels, Jesus actually told them to go back to Galilee, right? So I don't think they were in the wrong place, right? And so they were there fishing because, Jesus told them, go to Galilee where I'll meet with you. And what do they do in Galilee? They didn't get any other information what they're supposed to do. What will they do in Galilee? Maybe they're a bit like me. We have 5 free minutes, you'll find something else to do. Because one can't just waste 5 minutes, can you? Maybe something like that. And so they're fishing. And then Jesus came to them. Jesus prepared food for them. Lo and behold, they ate. And then Jesus asked Peter 3 times if Peter loves him. Okay, and in the teaching part as well, we'll get back to this concept where Jesus asked him, because he used 2 similar kinds of words for love, and then in last case he used a different. Now, I've preached sermons on this where I showed how Jesus kind of, Peter used one word for the Greek word and Jesus another Greek word, till the last case and the third time when both used the same Greek word on Peter's level, that is. Now, it sounds very good, and but yes, then I read another Bible scholar who says that, well, maybe it's not something really in the word, because in other places that word is used interchangeably for love, right? Because we know the Greeks had 5 different words for love, etc., etc. And so yes, this higher kind of love, maybe not always this higher kind of love is used. This God, between God and man kind of word is used for philia, is used for in that sense. Okay, it can sometimes be just between humans as well. So yeah, but we'll get back to that teaching. I'm signed because of that, kind of a little bit on the, because how he explained makes sense. So I'm a bit on the fence here now concerning the uses of that word. But we'll get to the teaching, what Jesus was getting at, because the important part is the restoration of Peter ultimately. And then there is just the final part about their deaths, right? And Jesus saying, that Peter will be led to wherever he wants, where they want to lead him without his, say, permission. So to show which kind of death he's going to die. Now, you need not be able to read tarot cards or horoscopes or any of that nonsense, because that's nonsense, to understand that Peter is most likely going to die a violent death. Because in a couple of months from here, well, not even a couple of months, less than a month from this time onwards, he's going to be put in prison. And then again put in prison. So this whole imprisoning of Peter is going to start very soon, clearly showing that, no, he's not going to have an easy life. So that need not be just, if this is already happening, then yes, most likely that's how it's going to play out. And then John dying old age, right? His own kind of death. But with a caveat there that didn't mean that he will be alive when Jesus comes back idea. Okay? So it's not that John is hiding in a cave somewhere in the Middle East and he will, when Jesus comes back, will walk out of the cave idea, okay? But we will look as well at why all of this is important, why this is mentioned. So this is in short what this book is about. The end to a very beautiful book, like every book in the Bible is beautiful. This book I love a lot, all of John's writings, because it's on a more, I think a more mind level. It plays a little bit more in the kind of stuff I like. But just important, all of the Bible, all the books, they differ and they're all beautiful in its own way. Because ultimately, again, I want to say this waterfall here, the setting here of this is very beautiful, but nothing ever can compare to the beauty of the Word of God.